Welcome to the Hog Pen in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The final game of week 6 of the SFL season 25 season, and a matchup between two teams that seem to be in patchy form in season 25, looking to add an extra win to the column. Pittsburgh with an opportunity to go above 500, OKC with an opportunity to get a road win and hit 500. So they started the campaign 1 and 2. Alongside me this evening for co-commentary is none other than Brett Solberg. Brett, good to be back with you again. No network issues for me today, so I can actually start the game. How are you doing over that way? And yeah, good. Ironically, it was Pittsburgh we called in that instance as well.
Yeah, it seems like Pittsburgh can't get rid of us in a football game, and now we're going to call another Pittsburgh game at Pittsburgh, this time against an Oklahoma City team looking to essentially get into that huge dog pile that is 2-2. We've already had Baltimore win to get to 2-2. Fort Worth is playing Washington. They win, they get to 2-2. If Oklahoma City wins, they get to 2-2. But Pittsburgh's goal, get that third straight win. They want to get a streak going, and it starts here tonight.
So we'll start with the football. They have got a 2-win streak under their belt. They beat both Carolina teams in the last 2 weeks. And while OKC had that division win in the second week of the season after they had the bye for convention week, and they've lost 2 in a row straight. So, and both teams with ample opportunity today to claw back their records. It'll be the Riverhogs to start with possession on their home turf. First time this matchup's been played out. And Pittsburgh, a fairly new franchise, and OKC back in after a long stint away from the top flight. Run for Churchill on first down, that next 7.
Yeah, and Churchill's going to be that dangerous weapon for Pittsburgh. The Riverhogs like to use him first, along with BB Belitz. Those two guys combined for 450 yards heading into this game, so they've got a lot of manpower in the run game.
Second down is short. They've got the offside. That will be the change for Blitz, and he's got plenty of room to run into, and it's the secondary who has to prevent that one from being ripped right open. And there's an OKC player down. It's Brady Clark has gone down. This is not a good start for OKC.
No, Pittsburgh started with the weak eye twins formation. Then they flip it over, go strong eye jacks, and decide to just run this ball up. They're thinking OKC's run game, run defense, I should say, is going to be the way to victory, as OKC has allowed 190 yards, 23rd in the league.
That leaves the Renegades with 3 contracted secondary players. They've got 2 corners of Sammy Seatbelt and Thomas Rahman Jr. And Thomasine Rahman is the only safety left on the field with the Clark injury. That run for Churchill, and that's 5. OKC facing 3 straight runs from this Pittsburgh offense.
Yeah, we might see a lot more coming from the Riverhog offense, because I even stated this back in the last Pittsburgh game. They are a grit and grind team, and they're back in Ijax.
Seeing another strong front from the Renegades. It's a run outside for Belitz. He can't get outside that time. It's a run of 1. There, a good response from the secondary. Thomasine Rahman in the forward line there to make that tackle. Makes it a 3rd and medium here with a 3rd and 4. Potentially the first pass option here for Ace Fennec. They are in a running formation. Fennec will drop back. He's got a lone receiver down the bottom of the screen. It's a pick up the top there. Brilliant catch from Moronic for the first down.
Yeah, that was a double coverage too, and when you go in an I-Pro formation with just the 1 receiver and the 2 tight ends, you do have the options with your TEs, but you have to be careful if you're throwing in that wide receiver direction. A lot of times it's going to be double teamed, and that was just perfectly caught by Hronik. He was a step behind, stretched out his hand, and got the catch.
A breakout campaign last season, 4 straight seasons under 400 yards. Then his second season in Pittsburgh, he had 1250 as the leading receiver on this depth chart. He competes with Doug Britton for the starting spot, who's been motioned to the outside here. Fennec will throw again, looking infield for Britton, gets 9 plus 1. They're going to give him the first down.
Yeah, and they need to continue with those quick throws, because OKC's edge rushers have been, coming in fairly quickly and collapsing the pocket on Fennec. So Fennec's got to continue throwing those hot passes really quick. Good work to get it to Doug Britton. That's another great option to look forward to. And it's been a lot of spreading the love over the last couple of weeks for Pittsburgh en route to this 2-game win streak.
Yeah, keep the pro set pressure showing up the middle there from OKC. Going to throw across the top. It's Ronick again. He's inside the 5, trying to roll the shoulder inside the 3. And they are rolling with the pass attack now.
Yeah, and they're really seeing the absence of Brady Clark on this drive, and they're kind of capitalizing it through the pass now after this. And Ronick is just, beating his man on the hop. That's Rahman Jr. that's got to cover him, and there's a height and weight discrepancy between those two as well. So advantage Pittsburgh coming into this drive.
It's a good response up front by the Riverhogs. The free safety goes down, they go straight to the air. They're going to project to run again here. They'll motion Ronick over the top.
That puts him back against Rahman Jr. on that one. Yeah.
And off Wheeler got the block, and it's a touchdown for Mike Churchill. Pittsburgh's first drive, next 6 points.
It was a good misdirection as well from Pittsburgh to move Ronick from right to left, and then touchdown. I love it from the blimp from Daggs Droneworks to make it a touchdown for the Riverhogs. But the misdirection of switching Ronick from right to left and then running it over right side maybe confused OKC, and Pittsburgh, I would say very easily, gets the first 6 on the board.
It's Mike Churchill's 3rd rushing touchdown of the campaign, and that has occupied that starting running back spot for most of this season. And it caps off an 80-yard drive there. Stats early on money from Ron Haynes and Justin Reside, who are supporting us this evening. And OKC are down 7 points to nothing without even touching the football again. Brady Clark going down on the first play of the game. What effect could that have on the rest of proceedings here this evening? Renegades with an opportunity to respond here. Return goes past the 40. It's a Kilgore on the return. He's got it up past the 40. What a return by the tight end. He's still going up past halfway. Got to halfway. Jonathan Kilgore, the sophomore tight end, with a beauty of a return.
Yeah, you don't see this too often, Jacob. A tight end on return. I know we saw earlier, I believe this week, Ethan Flowers made a return for Detroit in their game, but now you're seeing a tight end who's got a lot of weight to carry over, and a lot of the times you don't see tight ends run even just 50 yards down the field, let alone the full length of the field on its own. And OKC, that's probably a dream start for them getting to the ball at midfield.
It sees Air KJ King Jackson starting a fresh drive from midfield. Drops back on the first play. He will throw outside. It's caught at the ankles there by one of the eligible receivers. Again, it's been a good passing attack this season for the OKC Renegades, as Stephen McMichael's the number 1 tight end of 3 on the roster, gets the opening catch, and that's 7.
Going back to Ijax.
It's going to be a run, bounce outside. Couldn't quite shake the tackle. There was Tom Rahman, former quarterback turned running back, tackled by his opposite number in Kane Vasquez.
Yeah, and OKC has had a woeful time trying to get that run game established for the first 3 games. Only 86 yards amongst Tom Rahman, Richard Powers, and King Jackson.
The drop back for Jackson, throws short. That is caught for a first down. And it's Tiberius Bovine, the Hall of Famer, getting the catch. So both of the main tight end targets getting catches on this drive, and OKC now on the move.
What has been successful for OKC, though, has been that pass attack. It helps when you have 2. I would argue McMichaels should be a Hall of Famer within the next year or 2. But having Bovine and McMichaels as your dual tight ends, and then having your lead receiver being Christian Bacciagalupi, those are great targets for King Jackson.
Jackson will roll and again slings it. That's into double coverage and incomplete. Bit of a risky one there. We'll run through the OKC offense. Here's quarterback King Jackson under center. Richard Powers and Tom Rahman, the 2 backs. Quinn Jackson's inactive to start this evening, but it's Christian Bacciagalupi and Dallas Sanders as the 2 receivers. Again, those 3 times we've seen all of them so far. Jonathan Kilgore, Tiberius Bovine, and Stephen McMichaels. Plenty of experience across that receiving group. Offset eye back in the pro set for 3 defense to match out of Pittsburgh. Drop back again by Jackson. Throws in between the numbers. It's incomplete. Great defensive play at the back by Rigsby to force that one free.
And it was a good look from Jackson, too. I don't blame him for that throw whatsoever. Had a man wide open down the middle, down deep 20 yards. Those are the throws you want to make as a quarterback. You just have to trust your receivers to secure the catch even after the hit.
Check that it's a Monte Dubois-Smith who gets the pass deflection there. One of a few quality secondary players in this roster. Jackson is under pressure and he will go down. Loss of 5 there on the sack. It's an early sighting of this front 7. Adept Boudreau with that sack.
And I think, Jacob, Odette Boudreau was dominant in the broadcast that we had together as well. So we might be seeing a repeat performance from Odette tonight. And, you know, I think Pittsburgh would love that. Again, they want to, you know, I wouldn't say one up. I don't think anybody could one up 15 sacks that Detroit had against Chicago the other night. But you kind of want to have, you know, similar numbers if possible with that grit and grind kind of style that Pittsburgh loves to play.
I was just looking back on the numbers. It's the 3rd sack of the season for Odette Boudreau. She's had 5 tackle for losses as well. And that punt will sail into the end zone. So not the result that OKC were after that terrific return from Jonathan Kilgore. Got them up to halfway. They got a first down through the air, and then that couple of passes that were unable to find hands resulted in that sack there on 3rd down and long. Pittsburgh got the football back here after an impressive 80-yard drive to start the game. Set. OKC showing pressure. They back off and run a 3-man front. Fennec will throw downfield. It's caught by Britton in between the numbers up past the 40.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh's kind of just slicing through that secondary now that there still hasn't been any update on Brady Clark yet. But another good throw, another good catch.
And so far had 210 receiving yards leading into the game. It's not quite the campaign that he was used to as the leading receiver in Charleston, but starting to heat up across the last couple of weeks. Fennec will run this. He will go straight into the linebacker there, and Sabo Cannon will pick up 5.
Yeah, and you have to love the improvisation from the Pittsburgh offense on that play, and, you know, making sure that just even a broken play could lead to 5 yards.
To go back to the run here in 2nd and medium. Wheeler in front of Churchill. Ben Harrison motioned across here. He'll dive straight up the middle. Churchill got caught behind a blocker and eventually got free. Boy, OKC should not have let that up with how long it took for that run to develop, but it is a first down for Pittsburgh.
And you can see that hole was just open for so long that even when he was stuck on his own lineman, just a simple change of direction from Churchill going into that open hole led to just wide open space, and it felt like a super easy first down.
Now on the gun, 4 wide. Bullets on the left-hand side. They will fake the handoff, go in between numbers, and it was aggressive from Thomas Rama Jr., who potentially might have had a play on that off the deflection, but Veronic unable to reel it in.
I'm not quite a fan of quick passes off the shotgun because your center has to snap in, and it's going to take a little bit of time to get to the quarterback. So a lot of times receivers are already about 2-3 yards downfield. You've got to make that throw maybe even quicker. So that might have been better on a single back, maybe not on a shotgun.
Britton moved across in motion. He's had the hot start so far. Fennec drops back. No pressure on him. Finds Britton for a 3rd time here this afternoon.
Now, this is just beautiful positioning from Britton as well. And you look at the receivers from Pittsburgh so far in this game, they have really done well either in the speed department or in the position department. That was Britton just getting in front of what looked to be Matt Bowen, who is the safety that's replacing Brady Clark at this moment, and just took position over him.
Really picking apart this shallow OKC defense at the moment. Churchill run on the outside, beat the first defender, trying to continue it with the leg drive, gets 7 on that carry. It's been an efficient start for Kim. Britton's got 3 for 46. Veronic's got 2 for 40. Both backs have now combined. They are averaging around 5 yards per carry. It's about as efficient as you can get here early in the game. Pushing inside towards the SFL red zone. Head on the outside to Bullets. He will get forward progress. Gets them inside the 20. And it's another first down for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and get this, Jacob. Pittsburgh's only 15 plays deep, and they're already averaging 9 yards per play so far. We're talking about offensive dominance through this first stanza for Pittsburgh. It just seems like everything is going right. Every play that they call has been the right one.
Pittsburgh could go back into this shotgun. Looks like. Okay, so we'll counter with a 3-2. Pressure shot around the edge. They will run it with Churchill. Bit of a misdirection there. And it'll be a 7-yard pickups again, keeping the average up, and well timed there. Average yards per play now ticking up towards 9.5.
And just looking at that, some teams would love to have just 3 or 4 yards on one carry, but right now the run game is averaging 7.
And off to Churchill, he won't get it. Good response from the OKC defense there. And a backup linebacker getting the spot there, but it's an opportunity to get their defense off the field here on a 3rd down and short.
Yeah, and this is a big opportunity for OKC to essentially stop the first quarter bleeding. If they can stop them, hold them to 3 points, this is going to be a positive sign.
Churchill open running, can't get to stop there was Thomas Rowan Jr. And Mike Churchill's got a brace.
And an early brace at that for Mike Churchill. 2 touchdowns in just 1 quarter alone. If he keeps up that pace, we're looking at 8 here. I don't know if we're going to get 8 for sure, but Pittsburgh's been rolling on both sides of the offensive football. The pass game has been great. The run game has been stellar so far, and this is why you see that early 13-0 advantage.
It makes 2 80-yard drives that Pittsburgh have successfully completed at really good efficiency as well. Mike Churchill now 7 for 46 for 2 touchdowns, and Pittsburgh now find themselves up 14 points to nothing. OKC, again, no wrongdoing really on offense. They have not had much of an opportunity, but that loss of Brady Clark on the defensive side of the ball could be huge if he is to sit out the rest of this game. They lost him on the 2nd play of the game, again, to bring that one up. So I'm just seeing Brady Clark in the chat now, so disappointed for him. You didn't even get to see his player on the field. It's a bit of a stinger as that return by Dallas Sanders gets them up to the 30.
Again, it's another decent return. You'd love to have it past the touchback line. They get themselves to the 30, but now you're backed into this corner already early in this game. You've got to find ways to get your guys open. You're already down to basically a one-dimensional offense. You're going to see King Jackson pass that ball a lot tonight.
Dropped back by Jackson for the short route that's caught by McMichaels. It will be a gain of 2 running through the Pittsburgh defense. Butch Mena, Odette Padro, Bubba Bruiser, your 3 linemen, Tommy Robert Busey, Doug Day, Brian Craven, and Dimitri Matsuma, the linebackers, the Skinkle, Jermaine Menafield, Tom Craig, Joel Grigsby, Corey Mena, Amante Jubar Smith, and Kane Vasquez are your defensive backs. Dropped back by Jackson again, throws the short route once more, and that's not going to get forward progress there as the receiver couldn't turn upfield. Tackle made by Doug Day early on.
And that's one of those problems of throwing a flat pass on a 3-4 defense like Pittsburgh loves to use. You got a guy like Doug Day who can match the speed of a lot of tight ends. So if you're gonna throw that flat route, you've got to find it to a wide receiver or maybe a speedy running back.
Deep throw by Jackson. He's got Kilgore. What a start for the sophomore. In between the numbers he goes. He's up at halfway where he returned that kickoff.
Yeah, and that's a perfect throw again from Jackson, just finding the open route, which happened to be Kilgore, who was maybe running a little bit behind the route, so Jackson had to change it, and now they end the quarter at midfield.
Quarter done, and that's a confirmation that Brady Clark will not be back this evening. That's a shame, because it really does seem like he's going to be someone that is going to be was going to be able to keep OKC's defense at least in the contest. Now they have a real gap in that defensive secondary that Pittsburgh already seem to be picking apart. So it's now on the offense to see if they can get things going here and keep the pace. Drop back again by Jackson, sings it. Short route, it's caught. Gain of about 9 there for Bovine.
And that's just the perfect short cross route, and the best case scenario as well to a tight end. You get the catch, and you're left wide open down the middle of the field. You use whatever burst of speed you have to get those 9 yards.
Can go to the ground here on second and short here to try and get Tom Rahman going. It'll be a toss play to the outside. He will get a lead block and got the first down. So opportunity just to settle things here, and they've got a little bit of momentum going.
And this is what can be effective of a run game that can't really get going this season is, those short down opportunities, the 2nd and 3s, the 3rd and 1s, the 2nd and 2s. Those are those runs you can make.
Another short throw from King Jackson. That hits the Hall of Famer Bovine once more. It's them a 2nd and 2. So again, it's just short route, then a run on 2nd down. It's pretty simple offensive football, but it's got them downfield. They're now on the precipice of the field goal range and furthermore the red zone. Back in the goal line, Kilgore moved outside here. No one picking him up on the edge. It went up audible here. There'll be toss play to the outside. Rahman is shut down by Vasquez again. That seems to be the matchup when they go to the ground.
I was thinking maybe they would toss it over to the left because there was less Pittsburgh defenders on that side than on right, but they decided to keep it that way, even with Kilgore moving out of the line off of Ijax. Now this is I-Wing Jokers coming up on 3rd and 2.
Yeah, draw play up the middle for Rahman. Got it. First down. Again, it's a good run up the middle from Tom Rahman. That seems to be the spot of the defense where he can have some success today is in that A gap.
And what also helps is for a pass-happy team like OKC, those draw plays can really misdirect the defense.
Drop back by Jackson. Again, sails it. Oh, outside that, he's dropped. That probably should have been picked off there for Pittsburgh. Missed opportunity there for Jermaine Manifield, but OKC get away with one there.
Yeah, I think that's Jackson's first overthrow of this game. Thinking Kilgore had the speed, but he kind of overthrew him by a good 2 yards, I would say. And like you said, almost a pick. That should have been a clear interception, a turnover for Pittsburgh.
Stay in the strong eye pro. Motion of tight end across the face of the formation. It's Bachi Galupi who's in that slot position. Throw by Jackson, incomplete. He was looking for Bachi, but it's incomplete.
It was again another good look from Jackson, and now Batsagalupi's just got to make sure that he holds on to that football. He's as much as OKC has progressed well this season, he's got to trust on those receivers to catch the football.
And 4 wide here. Should correct myself. It's technically pronounced Borsi Galupi. Let's see, he's not the C sound I've been pronouncing. Jackson's gone again. Another 3rd down that is just absolutely bottled up here by this Pittsburgh defense.
Yeah, this time it's the second half of the Bash Brothers, Coach Brian Craven, that basically ends the drive and might have kicked it a little bit too far for OKC, but they're going to still try a 44-yarder here.
Dorgan on the field, he too, like OKC. A player returning after a long absence from the league, hits that 44-yarder, so OKC has some points on the board.
Yeah, and that's the best thing that OKC can get after, being shell-shocked in the first quarter by the form of 160 first quarter yards from Pittsburgh, is to at least get some points on the board. You get things started there, and now your defense has to respond after getting a rest on the sidelines, get a stop so you can get that offense back on the field.
Short kickoff by Dorgan. It's going to allow Bronick some room to run into this special teams unit. He's going to get it up past the 30 to the 35. So a decent return and good starting field position here for the Hogs. And again, 2 drives in the opening quarter, 2 scores. Okay, so really needs to stamp down here defensively as not to prevent themselves from getting washed away just because they can't keep up the momentum on offense at the moment. And it's really a game that the home side seems to have firmly in their control.
Yeah, and again, like we've been saying, in the first quarter, it has been offensive dominance from Pittsburgh. Can they carry this over into this quarter?
Okay, so running a three-man front here. And Churchill will run straight at them. It's going to be a gain of 8 there on that carry check. It's Blitz on the first down run.
And this run game has just been really aware of where the open holes are that are opening up from the offensive line and just gunning down that gap and getting, 6, 7, 8, 9 yards.
So on here on the second down run, that's Churchill checking back in, and there was plenty of space for him to run into. And it's another first down. This run game seems to be totally open today.
Yeah, both these running backs, Churchill and Blitz, averaging well over 6 yards per carry, has just made the offensive coordinator's day so easy. And just, they could just run up a play and know that they're going to get some major yards out of it.
You can see trying out a 3-3 here. Got Cannon up in the block, but he couldn't make the tackle. And as a result, Churchill is going to trot forward for 9.
As again, these two running backs, Churchill and Blitz, have really just found open holes, even if they're trying to get stuffed by linebackers at the line. They find the strength to just shed it off and just keep on running. Another major gain from this run team.
It's a great read by Aaron Gooden, but he couldn't make the tackle. And as a result, Churchill able to explode forward for 9. Blitz will check back in here. Hand off straight up the middle, and look at the room again for Mike Churchill. And a straight first down, which is the rest of this OKC defense. Shinjanator and Harrison Kilgore on the defensive line. Sabo Cannon and Aaron Gooden, the two linebackers. Again, that secondary without Brady Clark today. Semi Seatbelt and Thomas Rahman Jr. with Thomasine Rahman as the lone safety. Twins to the right-hand side. Free up front again from the Renegades. This time, Gooden backs away, and it was right in his face. And it ended up finding its way to Ben Harrison. Boy, there was an opportunity there to make a play at that ball, and they just totally let it go by the wayside.
Again, this is the second time that we've seen a double team go wrong for OKC. The Heronic catch, the one had a catch from earlier, and now this one, it should have felt like at least a deflection, but it results in Harrison getting his mitts on it.
Harrison will stay out there. And off outside, Churchill. That's the first down. They keep it moving.
Yeah, it's just about pushing that rock, making sure that they have basically control of that football in their way. So we're seeing more running. We're seeing, a couple of short passes here and there. And right now, the balance between run and pass has been flawless.
Great run from Blitz. He's got the first down inside the 5.
Just continuing to just bully that ball through. And Blitz, surprisingly enough, has been the guy with the longest carry so far between these two. That's another 12, I'd say close to 13 yards. And he's done that twice already this evening.
And Justin have Blitz 7 for 53. Churchill 10 for 67. Fennec will throw near the goal line. No, He's got a wide open Ben Harrison. They've got 3 drives and 3 touchdowns.
And this was clearly the OKC defense thinking to themselves, yeah, they're going to run this football, especially on this I formation. But Tom Rahman Jr. was just not ready for Harrison to kind of break out on a little bit of a mini corner route and just be wide open. And Pittsburgh gets their first passing touchdown of the game and just swells this lead to an even bigger margin.
It's very quickly starting to get away from the Renegades here. 21 plays 3. With about 3.5 minutes left in the opening half. OKC will get one more shot here to try and counteract the speed in which Pittsburgh are playing at. Their last drive certainly got them into scoring range, and then it similar to the first one. It ended with a sack and 3rd down and long. And Jackson hasn't done a whole lot wrong so far in this game, but he's struggling to pick apart this secondary. Be another return by Kilgore. Again, he mowed over a Pittsburgh defender. This is one up past the 20 to the 23.
I don't know, Jacob. Maybe it's time not to be as pretty if you're OKC. It might be time to, maybe look down the field, look at your speedy options, see if you can, chunk play down the field, 10, 15, 20 yards per play.
Jackson to the air, throws, it's intercepted. That one was always going to come down in the midst of Corey Mena, and Pittsburgh have got the football back again.
Let's quickly talk about Corey Mena for a second, because this is a guy that I feel anytime that I catch a Pittsburgh game, he's always in the midst of a major play that comes in, whether it's a bone-jarring hit or a tip drill interception, and he does it again. First throw after, swelling this lead to 18, and just halts any opportunity for OKC to try to slowly come back.
The task becomes even taller now for the Renegades. Twins to the bottom of the formation. Pittsburgh can really pile it on now. Fennec is going to throw. It's caught by Britton in between 2 defenders.
And these wide receivers, Ronick and Britton, they're kind of making mincemeat of this shortened secondary that's down to really 3 contracted and players that we usually don't see in the OKC lineup as much, and they're just they're having their fun right now.
Fennec again with the Twins formation, this time flipped to the weak side. Drop back by Fennec, throws in between. Got it to Horonek. Probably unlucky not to get the first down there on that play. It's going to be called 2nd and inches.
Yeah, that one is a pretty close call either way, but again, receivers are getting open. They're getting the catches. This could be, a milestone night for Pittsburgh if this continues at this pace.
Okay, so you've got to try and prevent this from becoming a cricket score. Again, they're really feeling the effects of not having Brady Clark's cannon missed the tackle, and Mike Churchill has a first-half hat-trick.
It's starting to become a little bit more realistic. When I said 8 touchdowns is his pace, he's at 3 now. We're only, 2:47 left in the second, and with how that defense of Pittsburgh has been playing so far, it might not be outside of that range, but Pittsburgh has just played, I would say, a nearly flawless first half on both sides of the football.
250 total yards of offense in a half of football. Notice Bedro's extra point is good, so he's 3 for 3, 4 for 4 rather. He's had 4 touchdowns. It's been an absolute walk in the park in this first half. And again, worth noting as well, they did lose arguably their best defensive player, Brady Clark, on the second play of the game, and it's just been a total pick-apart affair since that point. Okay, so just haven't been able to match the speed.
And just to put this in comparison, again, I hate to go back to that Detroit-Chicago game, but Chicago ended up with just under 200 yards of total offense. Pittsburgh already has 254, and we're not even done the first half.
Nice formation. Jackson's going to roll back. He's going to throw it short. He's caught for a gain of about 5 there as Bovine again with a reception. So again, Jackson, outside of the interception, hasn't done a whole lot wrong so far this evening. But again, turnovers can be costly in a matchup like this when the offense is on the other side of the football is at the pace that Pittsburgh's is today. Rahman with an outside run that's blown up at the line of scrimmage there by Wellbrook Busey.
Yeah, Rahman got about 3 or 4 inches before he got drilled by Tommy Wellbrook Busey, and just no chance to get forward progress. And I suspect this is a throwing down here on 3rd.
Be after the 2-minute warning here. OKC trying to keep their offense on the field here to win the half. and not give Pittsburgh another opportunity to add more to the score. Stay in the pro set here. Roll out. Rahman set the block on the outside.
Wow.
Got Bovine inside the 30, and ADS is the only one back there to push him out of bounds.
And that might have been a mistake from Jermaine Menefield, who was kind of covering that soft area of the field and went for a diving interception, and that led to Bovine overreaching him via his height to get the catch and a couple extra yards.
Here again, low motion, Bovine down to the bottom. At halfway, clock stopped at a minute 55. Jackson under pressure, throws short, caught. Gain of 4 there for McMichael. So it's again exchanging blows between the two tight ends at the moment for the Renegades.
9 receptions between those two guys alone.
Nice to see OKC get a score on the ball before the half set, just to keep things interesting in the second half. And off the outside, Rahman can't get the blocking up, and that will be a no gain there. Shut down again by Tommy Robrook Busey.
And just looking at that stat sheet that was provided to us by Ron Haynes and Justin Reside, all 10 receptions have gone to the former tight end.
Outside that is incomplete, and probably an opportunity for an interception there. Falls harmlessly to the turf, and Pittsburgh can get their defense off the field there. Made by Tom Krieg, and it will be a punting situation once more for Dorgan.
Yeah, and again, this is King Jackson overthrowing his man, thinking that Dallas Sanders had the speed to get to that spot, but Sanders ain't quite there yet.
He's going to hang up the bounce is kind. This is going to trickle inside to about the 15, so it means that Pittsburgh would have to be really unkind souls to try and tack on another saw before the half's out.
I mean, we've seen impossible before, Jacob, but now you're thinking you're already up 25 at this point. You don't want to, cause anything serious if you're looking to be aggressive.
Pittsburgh receivers, they'll hand it off to Churchill a bit. The first defender gets 4. Urgency to get back to the line of scrimmage. So again, it's been a ridiculously efficient first half from these two backs. 12 for 75 for Churchill. Those 3 touchdowns. He's almost certainly a player of the half and already probably on track for player of the game. Bledsoe check in behind Wheeler. Harrison, the lead blocker on the left-hand side. Hand off straight up the middle, and they've blown that one up. That's a result for the Renegades there as Aaron Gooden gets one back.
Yeah, that one's a bit of a frustration hit as well from Gooden, because it has not gone OKC's way in this first half. But I'm looking at that scoreline, Jacob. We've seen that scoreline before in sim life and in real life. I don't know if you want to stay that way now that I think about it.
And I know where you're going with that one. That's a throw. It's caught by Horonic. Rather not Horonic. That'll be a late catch in the game. A different receiver for the first time today. It's Juice Fenix, so the Ace to Juice connection is still well and alive here. But as you see there, stats numbers looking good for Ace Fenix as well. Half time here at the Hog Pen. It's Pittsburgh who are really putting the OKC Renegades to the cleaners here today. It's 28 points to 3 at half time. Brett Solberg, give me your reactions to that first half.
Basically, it's just been Pittsburgh dominance through these first 2 quarters. The Hogs have dialed it back a little bit, but that's only because they've had a little bit less possession than OKC has gotten in that second quarter alone. It was definitely an opportunity for OKC to at least get those points back, but they've been kind of held back by a couple plays that haven't gone their way. Especially when they got to the enemy territory. They kind of got stuffed at around the 40, didn't get too much involved with that, and then earlier than that they had that interception that set Pittsburgh up in great field position to just swell the lead even further, and just 4 touchdowns, 3 of them by the form of Mike Churchill, who's, like, let's just say right now, he's probably going to be player of the game if the result stays the same. But right now, this is just pure Pittsburgh dominance in this first half.
Second half about to get underway. We'll see if the Renegades can piece something together on offense. They will receive the opening kickoff here. They currently find themselves down by 3 scores. Kickoff by Boudreau. It's Kilgore back there again. He's been electric on those returns. And bounces to the outside. That's Sanders, in fact, who is on that return. So that pass through the 25. That's where King Jackson will take over again. Not a terrible first half from KJ, so to speak. 10 of 16 through the only interception of the game as well. One caught by Corey Menor off a tip that he made himself.
Yeah, and it's just Jackson. You know, I think OKC is trying to play it more safe. If you remember all the way back to that first win, KJ had 430 plus yards of passing as he was risking a little bit more and resulted in, 1 interception. So KJ's got to be careful. Great catch.
Throw by Jackson finds Bovine, but the volume today is going to be quite significant for the 2 main tight ends, as we mentioned earlier. These are the 2 main receivers. There's still no sighting of Barcigalupi.
Yeah, and Barcigalupi is the leading receiver on that team coming into this game at 262 receiving yards. The big thing is, Bovine and McMichaels, they get the share of the load, 18 and 23 receptions respectively coming into this.
Motion Barcigalupi to the outside once more. Jackson will throw the short route again. He's open for Tiberius Bovine. Gets 5, so an efficient start to the drive here for King Jackson.
And I understand why OKC is electing to go with those shorter throws and catches, is because Pittsburgh does bring a lot of men to the house, so it's going to open up holes down that second level.
Play outside of Tom Rahman, gets 4. He'll be just shy of the first down marker, but you got the 3rd and short.
A big 3rd and 1 opportunity for OKC, excuse me, and you've got to make these 3rd down conversions, especially when you're down this much.
Richard Powers hasn't had a touch yet in the game. Could be an opportunity for him to inject himself here. Runs to the outside. Powers is shut down straight away. Great read there. It was Wellbrook Busey was the first man in, but it had some support there as well from the defender, and that shut it down. But they give them the first down.
I wouldn't be complaining when you're up 25 and they give your opponent the first down. No, let's be honest.
Good Lord. Jackson throws outside. That's caught by the tight end in Stephen McMichaels. That's a no gain there. Again, the short routes just not quite working out for the bigger bodies.
Yeah, and you have to find someone deep, and maybe the inactivity of Queen Jackson is maybe hurting OKC a little bit, because you've got Barcigalupi who's fine, but Dallas Sanders, is he capable of being that wide receiver too?
Motion Barcigalupi down to the bottom of the formation here. Rollout from Jackson. Throws again short. Caught. Gets 5 on. Okay, that seems to be the identity today for the Renegades. Get it to Bovine in open space. Get the short gain and go for it again on 2nd down. It'll be a 3rd down 5 here coming after the incompletion. No gain, I should say, on the 1st down play. Drop back by Jackson. Another throw. Deep. It's caught. And OKC are starting to build a drive together. Finally, Barcigalupi gets a look in and he converts.
Now, again, we can't fault King Jackson tonight, because he's made great throws, and that's just a perfectly well-placed throw past the hands of a pursuant, Kane Vasquez, looking to intercept that football, and it still gets into Botsy's hands.
Just shy of the SFL red zone here, so OKC starting to put a drive together. Drop back by Jackson. Under no pressure, throws. It's incomplete. That time they got the ball jarred free. A good play by Creed.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh secondary is probably one of the more underrated in terms of just name value in the league. You look at guys like Menefield, like Tom Krieg, like Corey Menner, Kane Vasquez, and, you know, I would say a rising star in Amonte Dubois-Smith.
Back again by Jackson, throws the short route. That's been on for most of today, the 5-yarder for either McMichaels or Bovine. That time it was the former. 3rd and 5 upcoming. Last time they drew up this, it was a deep shot to Bossy Galubi. They don't quite need that much here on this play. They will trot out a 4-wide formation plus a tight end on the left-hand side. It's Bovine in that area. Back again, zips it. It is incomplete. Was looking for Dallas Sanders. You mentioned an opportunity for him to potentially cement himself as that wide receiver too. He had the opportunity there and couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, and then it's we've seen Sanders a couple times on some options, and this one was probably the best attempted connection for King Jackson, but just couldn't get his hands on the football fully.
Maybe a second field goal for Judah Dorgan, who's hooked it.
That one, you know, trying to trust the wind a little bit too much and just can't get enough blow by to get it past the right goalpost, and now OKC's coming out with no points on that drive.
So disappointing for OKC. They were getting it going through the air, and it was exciting watching the passing plays that they were drawing up, but it's all for null, and Pittsburgh got the football back now on the effective turnover on downs, and it'll be a 4-yard gain for Mike Churchill on the first down carry. First miss of the season for Judah Dorgan as well. Back into an Ajax look here. 4 up front, couple of linebackers showing pressure there. Bullett's got through. Bullett's almost carried it all the way through. We got the first down.
Yeah, and a lot of teams utilize the Ajax formation pretty much perfectly. You see teams like Detroit and Houston. Sometimes you'll see Baltimore pull that out of their hat every now and again, and that seems to be the go-to formation if you want to get your running back, you know, somewhere between 4 to 7 yards.
Getting closer to the 300-yard mark, or 2 yards of offense here today. Pittsburgh, delayed handoff to Churchill. He's got room to run into again. It's Cannon who had to get back there to make him downed, but it's another first down.
And that was a very slow progressing draw play as well. And it just that open space was just getting wider and wider and wider. And then they hand the ball off to Churchill, and that was basically just a man running through with no wherewithal of who cares. He's going to get that first down.
Fresh set of down, turn off to the outside. Bullets ran straight at the corner and got a gain of 7. I don't like that play at all, that draw play out of a shotgun. Just, it's so slow. It's like they're toying with them at the moment, Pittsburgh. Another run that gets them a first down. They're followed up by Bullets, who gets 7 on the first down carry.
And they're doing this because they know that the run is working. So I don't blame them for doing it. But I agree with you. That shotgun draw play.
For Churchill, he's going to break this one free. Only one man to beat it. It's going to be tackle made, though. About the 30 there. Sammy Seatbelt preventing that one from being his 4th touchdown.
It was only a matter of time before Churchill got his 10-plus yard run. He's been flirting with that the entire game, and then he decides, you know what? I'm going to get 21 yards myself, move this team into field goal range, and just have us comfortably dominate this third quarter. 112 unofficially. It says officially 111. So great work from Ron Haynes and Just Reside to be accurate on the stats truck.
Stats have been money so far tonight. Officially gets Churchill over the century mark and Pittsburgh over the 300-yard mark. Starting to make quick work of this drive again. It's Bullet straight up the gut. No one there. Dragged from behind. It was Thomas Rummer Jr. who was there. Had to make the tackle from behind. And it's another just pounding run from Pittsburgh.
And again, this just seems to be their identity tonight, is just see how far Churchill and Bullets can take them. And right now on this drive, they're taking them basically to the end zone. And I wouldn't be too shocked if Churchill, at least in the next couple plays, gets number 4.
9.5 away from another score. Run for Churchill. Beat the first tackle. Can't get past seatbelt. That's a good tackle in the open field. And it'll still be a 5-yard gain.
And now it sets up the opportunity for Blitz to get his first of the game, not leaving him alone. He's got 83 yards on 11 carries. He has been just as efficient as Churchill has. He just has the points, Churchill.
Go back to the Jax Wheeler in the backfield still. It'll be a run for BB Belletz, who gets past the first tackle, and he will score a touchdown. Pittsburgh now have 34.
And it's just been grit and grind, run, and a little bit of gun, but mostly run from this Pittsburgh offense. But it has been just an excellent, I would almost say, precision work, almost surgical, in how they've just ran down the field and just split open the OKC defense en route to 34 points in 3 quarters.
50 total yards of offense that has just been blown out of the water here today. The Renegades, they're up by 32 now on the scoreboard with 2.5 left in the third quarter. OKC now officially playing for pride once again. We thought they might be onto something in season 25 with that win over Minnesota in week 2 on the road, but they since then have not been able to catch the steam, and it seems like this roster is still just a couple of pieces short. Particularly on the defensive side of the ball. Again, we haven't really seen any issues with the offensive identity today. They've gotten into field goal range a couple of times and then just haven't had much time on the other side of the ball. Speaking of which, Kilgore on the outside, he's been a bit of a bright spot. They just seem to be lacking that second receiver, perhaps. The ground game's been solid today, but it's the defensive side of the ball that they are struggling with because they just don't have the numbers to compete with a team with as many pieces as this unit does.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough when you only have really 2 contracted defensive linemen, only 2 contracted outside linebackers. You don't have, if you're trying to, formulate some type of identity on defense, you don't know if they're going to do 4-3, 3-4, if they want to focus on bear, if they want to focus on nickel. If that's the case, then they got to get more corners, which they only have 2 corners out there in Seatbelt and Rahman Jr. as that pass falls incomplete after a bone-jarring hit from Brock Busey, who's really been all over the place tonight.
Worth noting they are a couple of pieces shy, at least tonight. They did have Pharaoh Rain signed in the preseason, but he's been inactive since week 1. And then obviously, as we mentioned ad nauseum tonight, Brady Clark left the game with a dislocated elbow based on the second play of the game. That dump out to the outside. Thomas Rahman with a nice little spin keeps that for a 5-yard gain.
And like you said, there's been bright spots in this evening for OKC, even though the score doesn't show for it. The pass game has been good. King Jackson's at 65% completion percentage, and he's only got 1 black mark to his stat total, and that's the interception. As he scrambles through, still gets 1 yard out of it with the pursuing Pittsburgh defense. But there has been some bright spots in that offense. It's just the defense, it just hasn't come to play tonight.
It's just hard with the lack of numbers, as you said, that they lack versatility and the ability to just throw some different looks at Pittsburgh. And that drive stalls out. Unfortunately, King Jackson was never going to get through Doug Day there on that occasion. And punt is good, though. It'll be fair caught inside the 15, so decent mileage and a good piece of coverage there to prevent this Pittsburgh offense from having too kind of starting field position. Just over 90 seconds left in the third term. Pittsburgh again with the football. They'll be trying to march this score up here. Again, keeping it on the ground, you imagine. Just check that. It'll be a throw from Fennec on first down. That's caught in between 2 defenders. Doug Britton is starting to piece together another performance. He's had 2 nice weeks to back-to-back.
Yeah, and that one was just, just to check to see if the corners are still, active back there, especially the secondary, seeing if they were ready. And that was just perfect placement from Fennec to get it to Britton, and just making sure that, you know, they get their share, because Churchill and Belitz have been running down the field without, you know, any harm for life.
It's 5 catches for Britton at 78 yards, and he could be another player to hit the century mark today. That run by Churchill shut down at the line of scrimmage. That's a good response from OKC inside the final minute of the third term.
Back to that iPro.
Fennec has completed 11 of 12 pass attempts today. Again, not much volume, but Churchill race free. And there was one last defender back there at the save the day. And it's another really good run from Mike Churchill. You're just waiting for one of these to be broken free for a long-range touchdown. Now at 130 rushing yards on their longest of 22, averaging just shy of 7.5 per carry.
That's both Belitz and Churchill.
Yeah. And off 2 Belitz, he stiff arms a defender out of the way, gets 5 on that touch.
Yeah, and I think right now Pittsburgh's looking at, you know, possibly getting things to the bank, because both Churchill and Belitz have worked really well. Belitz just 8 yards away from getting to the century mark himself.
3 down, 1 to go. Pittsburgh all over the OKC Renegades today. 35 plays, 3 here at the Hog Pen. Home fans, they themselves might be starting to think about an early departure. This one has been very one-sided. And no fault of the work that OKC have started to pull in. They're just still short of some pieces on both sides of the ball. It's just on the outside to Mike Churchill. It's more a testament, Brett, to the effort that Pittsburgh puts in each off-season to get the rosters together. OKC just haven't been able to have those tools to put players on the field, and it might have just been a case of it really was a game decided by the GMs today.
Oh, 100%. And, you know, Eddie Gage and I have talked about this a lot over on our show, The Streets Are Talking. If you ever want to watch that, head over on Twitch TV/Eddie Gage. As Churchill breaks open for another big run. That's a well and easy first down for Pittsburgh. But I've been saying this about Pittsburgh for the last couple of seasons. I feel like they have built their team right. It feels like each season that they've you know, existed in this league, and it's just the results haven't shown. And now when you bring in, you know, guys like Doug Day and Brian Craven, you know, some minds to, you know, kind of help that out, and then you've got some great targets out in the field, Ziggy Hronik, Doug Britton, even bringing back Deuce Fennec. This season has been, you know, a great work to get that third receiver. Now the offense has become more dangerous out of them this season.
That run from Hronik shut down. Again, they got so many pieces that they can throw at an opposition defense. It's impressive, this roster that Keith Wheeler and company have put together. Churchill, it's his day today, really. Another run that you mentioned he broke off there. He's got the 3 touchdowns on the board. He's chasing a 4th here on this possession. Hand off to the outside. Wheeler got the lead block. Spin move from Churchill. He's on fire. First down run.
Yeah, you see the red streaks on his pants. It's starting to become, you know, on his shoulders and in his hands too. He is completely blazing on fire tonight, as every carry, it feels like, is a guaranteed 6 to 20 yards.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of SFL red zone. Pro set 3 up front again from OKC. Knocked back by Fennec. Short throw, that's caught at the ankles. It'll be a 5-yard gain for Doug Britton.
And again, mixing things up, they feel like they can really, you know, get anything that they want, and even those short crossers have worked out for Pittsburgh tonight.
And off again up the middle. A minimal gain on that occasion. They got pressure there in defensive support. Thomas Rowan Jr. with that tackle at the line of scrimmage.
This is Pittsburgh's 5th opportunity at a 3rd down conversion. They're 3 of 4 already tonight.
We'll go to the air for it. Fennec under little pressure. It's caught. Threaded beautifully into Ben Harrison for a 1st down.
So Hronik gets a one-handed catch in the 1st quarter. Britton gets one in the 2nd. And now in the 4th quarter, Harrison says, I don't want to be left alone in this one-handed catch party. He gets one of his own and gets him a yard to the end zone. Is this time for Churchill's 4th?
He's going to get a crack at it here out of the backfield. Strong Ajax. Lead block on the left side's Harrison. Toss play outside. Churchill beats the 1st tackle. He's got 4.
Touchdown Steelers.
All right, Mike, 4 more, and then the prophecy is true that I said earlier in the 1st quarter. But honestly, what a ground game dominant performance from Pittsburgh tonight. Churchill and Belitz are probably the best duo that we've seen this week, and we'll probably get huge kudos from all the media pundits once this week is over.
Yeah, they've really given it to the Renegades today. That's a 4th for Mike Churchill. And again, Belitz has been no slouch today. Extremely efficient on the ground. He's had a score to himself. There's 5 between the 2 of them. And Fennec has only thrown 1 incomplete pass. It's just been total perfection from this Pittsburgh unit. A return by Kilgore. See if OKC can grab a consolation here on their next possession.
And very quickly, for those of you not watching the other game on the docket, it looks like Washington is about 3 minutes away from getting themselves to 2-3. It's 26-7 over in Fort Worth, as Washington has kind of dominated this game from start to finish themselves.
Not quite the end of the weekend we had in mind. That throw across is incomplete. That's not quite what you want there in that situation. You roll that throw across your body to a receiver covering coverage.
Well, even so, you know, early in the docket, we had, you know, Baltimore taking care of Albuquerque, and then we had a classic over in Bossier City as Mexico kind of squeezes away a victory from the Steamers. So, you know, it's not a totally incomplete evening for the SFL front, but I'd say this last billing here definitely has been one-sided victories from both Pittsburgh and Washington.
Unfortunately, that Albuquerque-Baltimore matchup didn't quite live up to the expectations as well, because Cyrus Jive went down early in that game as well. So it was not quite a fair shout for the Adams in that contest. 3rd down and long here for the Renegades to try and convert. Jackson throws outside, one-hander by
Very nice.
Tiberius Bovine, gets it outside, 1st down, and that's probably the first time where those little short routes on the outside have worked to the effect that they were probably going for.
Yeah, and that's just space. That's Bovine had space so that he can catch the ball, turn around, and just move forward. He didn't have, you know, a defender basically breathing down his neck while he was catching it too. So that's those throws you have to make if on the flat route, is you got to make sure that they're wide open.
Offset our 2 receivers on either side, drop back by Jackson, no pressure on him, throws short, again caught by Bovine. He is close to that century mark, so he might be the first receiver to get above 100. Obviously, Churchill's already surpassed that number on the other side of the ball. Jackson again, not the worst afternoon. He's had over 150 yards on decent efficiency, under 1 turnover. Going to go back to the ground here. It's a run for Rahman. Runs straight at Wellbrook Bussey, but couldn't get the stop there. And it's a 1st down run for Tom Rahman.
And just enough to get to that 1st down and keep the possession in OKC side. And those are the mini victories that you have if you're OKC. You know, a run game that gets you, 5-6 yard carry. Those are little mini victories.
By Jackson, it's incomplete. It was targeted to McMichaels, deflected away there, and it's just another one that wasn't quite executed to the way that we expect from King Jackson. Dimitri Monzuma with that pass deflection. That's the name I was chasing. He's been a little quiet tonight. Dropped back by Jackson, throws to the flats, is caught by Rahman, chased down by Doug Day. There's no gain on that one.
And again, you mentioned that Monzuma's had a quiet game. He's had a quiet season so far, but that's not because, he's, having a down year himself, but it's because of just the company that he's with. He's got Day and Craven along with them too that, kind of eat up tackles themselves. But I don't think Monzuma is going to be, struggling to sleep because he's losing tackles from Day and Craven. He's just looking for that one simple letter, and that's a W.
Right, Jackson throws deep. It is incomplete. No, it's not. Manners picked it up on a tip drill. Unbelievable awareness by Corey Manor. And Pittsburgh's going to get their second turnover.
If I know Corey, he's going to make sure that he clips that and he makes sure that it's in his locker room, or if it's in the Gen Chat, or if he's going to DM me personally to show that interception over and over again, because that is something you just don't see sometimes, especially when that catch breakup happens. That usually just falls to the turf right away, but that had air time, and that went right into the hands of Menor, and now he's got 2 picks in this game, and none of them have been King Jackson's fault.
That one's a little bit unlucky. The first one probably not so, but that one, there's not much that Jackson can really do about that one. Churchill up the middle, it's 7. I believe that is Dimitri Monzuma confirming your suspicions there. He only cares about the W, and they've certainly got that locked up this evening.
Yeah, and again, he was their, I would say, almost their leader in the linebacking core a season ago, but he's okay with the company that he has in that linebacking core, along with, Day, Craven, and Brock Busey. That's a talented lineup of linebackers.
It's absolutely nasty. Both Bash brothers, and then the former Canton Classic, former member of the Louisiana Revolution as well, and in the latter and Brock Busey. There's that run there for Let's gets nothing, and an opportunity for OKC to get their defense off the field here on a 3rd and short.
I definitely think that Pittsburgh coaching staff is looking to get Blitz 5 more yards so that he can, get himself to the bank, get his bank account a little bit more, healthy, I guess you could call it, and get him the right reward for a fantastic performance from him. 15 for 95 and a touchdown.
Indeed, it would be nice for them to get both backs the incentive bonus this week. And for Churchill, he gets the first down. And that was the 5 yards we wanted Blitz to get, but he'll check in on the next carry.
Yeah.
I suspect if things go the way that they have been today, we kind of know where this one's going.
And already some top performances in the rush game this season that we've seen across the league, but 171 and 4 touchdowns has to be, already top 2, top 3, I would say, in the season so far.
Jacks look at Spillets in the backfield. And off to the outside, that's going to be minimal gain there, getting 3. He's almost there.
If you're OKC, you got to be, thanking your blessings that you only have 2 turnovers. Fort Worth just threw their 6th interception of the game.
Good Lord. Be plenty to talk about over in that one. Fort Worth is struggling because that's a team that seems to be up and down this season, and was in strong discussion because a lot of people thought that they were going to be the one team that would miss out from the list of teams that made the playoffs last season. And certainly a 6 turnover effort tonight won't help things. That's a run for Churchill. He just went about 15 yards untouched.
Oh boy.
And then was dragged down by a pair of OKC defenders. Keith Wheeler's gone down somewhere in the mix there.
Yeah, now it's a little bit unfortunate that Wheeler may not be looking to see the rest of this game. Still going to be a win heading into this 2-minute warning. Final 2 minutes left here. Pittsburgh on their way to win number 3 this season and 3 in a row.
Churchill nearly at 200. Unbelievable. We get 300 rushing yards between the 2 backs alone. In the offset eye, no Wheeler now. Toss play outside. Still room for Churchill. Gets about 3. OKC will burn their timeouts.
You know, you talk about 300 rushing yards. It sounds like a certain, Northwestern team that we saw do that all the way in week 3. Yeah.
Maybe some playbook study in mind for teams that want to run the football over the one that Brett just mentioned, or the effort tonight here from Pittsburgh. And off to the outside run from Churchill. Man, you get out of that. That's a gain of 5. And worth noting as well, one of the backs involved in that Vancouver game used to play for Pittsburgh as a wide receiver.
That's very true, and now Devin Lloyd has become the lead back over in Vancouver and has done himself a pretty admirable job doing the flip from wide receiver to running back so far this season. But enough, Vancouver glazing. Let's head back to this game.
He's been excellent. Churchill out the middle. That's going to be 200 yards for him in a 5-touchdown effort. My goodness, Mike Churchill has been unstoppable tonight.
We'll have to track the record books here, at least for the 4K23 era, on the amount of rushing touchdowns a player's had in a single game. But this is going to be one to remember for sure, and it has to be. And I got to talk to JW Hartshorn about this, but definitely getting him in as a shoe-in nomination for Player of the Week.
Has to be. There's no question. You could probably give it to him based on that stat line there alone. 200 rushing yards, 5 scores. It's probably his award to lose. I couldn't note another offensive performance this week that was better than that, really. And another scoring drive for Pittsburgh. They opt for the extra point. They might not get 50 tonight, but it's a very, very convincing scoreline.
We hit triple zeros over in Fort Worth. The final score 26-7 for Washington. They'll improve to 2-3. Fort Worth drops to 1-3 and now joins the club of the bottom, which includes Sin City, Los Angeles, and now I believe it'll be OKC as well in the 1-3 kind of cavalcade over there. And I don't think that's what Fort Worth was anticipating through their first 4 games of the season.
Means that Washington also joins a cluster of competitive teams sitting at 2-3 as well. OKC gets something on the board before this game's out. It's just that Judah Duggan field goal is the only scoring chance here today. They had another field goal attempt that was missed. That throw by Jackson looking for Dallas Sanders is incomplete. Back in the empty, 4 wide. Single tight end to the right-hand side. Sanders is the motion man again. Back by Jackson, got blocking around both edges. Caught by McMichaels. That'll be a 6-yard gain. And there'll be a timeout called here again.
And again, OKC, they're just looking for pride at this point, and it's a good thing to even look for pride, even in a game that went way out of hand by even as early as the second quarter for them. Just look for any positives heading into the next week.
Jackson slings it outside, got it over the top, and a good pass deflection there by Jermaine Manifield, who hasn't had a great deal to do tonight. It's a play in there, and it will be 90 seconds left on the clock here, and OKC could very well punt this one. I know Jackson will have a go for it here from.
I like the guts. I like the gutsiness. Even down 46, they're saying to themselves, "We got enough pride to still go for it in our own territory, 4th and 4."
1000% agree. Have to at least have a try here. And drop back once more, throws outside. That's incomplete.
Oh, that's
there was
PI.
too much contact on the coverage, and that'll be a free first down.
Yeah, you take that. Pittsburgh, looking to end this game a little early was a little bit too touchy. For as much as we've talked about Tom Krieg playing, superstar defensive play, a little bit too touchy on Batsagalupi, and now they got themselves a free first down, these Renegades.
So just under 90 seconds left. They'll stay in the empty. a fresh set of downs here, 39 yards away from their own goal line. Jackson drops back, with good blocking up front, throws incomplete. And it's deflected away by Tom Creed.
Yeah, and for those of you coming from the Washington-Fort Worth game, it has been essentially the Mike Churchill show. Over 200 yards rushing, 5 rushing touchdowns. Still looking for that record book to see if he's reached a 4K23 high in terms of rushing touchdowns. But OKC still fighting for it for the last minute 21 here.
Throw caught. McMichael's first down, chased behind by Day. They've got no timeouts left, so they will go into the no huddle. But they've got themselves 200 yards of offense here today. That one from Jackson overthrown.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually like going on a hurry up in the shotgun formation, especially when it's, an empty open. You got 5 receivers out. It's plenty of opportunity to, switch up. Just not even just for like the plays. You can just audible different routes and make sure that your receivers hit different spots of the field.
Same empty open formation here. Drop back. Jackson again has time to throw. It's deflected away by Craig. He's got 5 pass deflections tonight. And it'll be a third down and long.
Yeah, that was another opportunity to seal that deal for Pittsburgh. But we've seen this a couple times from the Pittsburgh secondary where we thought to ourselves, that's a guaranteed interception, and it kind of just falls on the wayside. You're looking at, teams coming up for Pittsburgh. You definitely want to shore things up, especially when you're playing, teams coming up such as Baltimore Week 8.
Jackson, that one went for a set of hands there. It was Menafield who got to it first. That's not one of his finest moments. They will go for it again here on 4th down and 10.
And if it works the first time, you just keep going until it stops working. And 4th and 10, you got to trust in your receivers.
So if Jackson can find another target, they're going to motion Borsigalupi across to the other side. Drop back, throw, it's caught. And McMichaels has a first down, shut down by Vasquez at the 35. McMichaels has 9 catches for 45 yards.
Yeah.
And Jackson will spike it. 43 left.
Yeah, you'll see this with quarterbacks with about 50 seconds left in this game. They'll spike it when they run out of timeouts. Just use that free first down to, stop the clock, give yourself a time to change formations, switch things up. They're basically just flipping the formation here.
35 to go. Can they get a touchdown on the ball before the game's done? Jackson, another zip throw. It's incomplete. Boy, Sanders, that's the closest he's come to a catch with good coverage by Ness Gankel.
Yeah, it's another close opportunity for OKC to keep moving down the field, but that's kind of what happens when you're short receivers and you go to Taylor Jacobs as your third receiver and you just can't manage to hold on to that football. Back to the shotgun.
Jackson might throw this one deep, bit of air KJ Mail to finish the game off mayhaps. Drop back, zips it, sets caught. Oh, high point of the football. Great grab by Stephen McMichaels. Jackson will trot it back nice and quickly to spike it once more. He got 30 seconds left here, and they were in scoring range.
20 of the 24 completions from King Jackson have come from Bovine and McMichaels. It's been a tight end show. This is what Mike Deggs would love to see.
Back into the empty formation here. Also the looping motion to the bottom here. Drop back by Jackson. Got good blocking up front, in and out of hands. And was looking for Kilgore, but it was deflected away, and Gankel's got another one.
Yeah, there's a couple targets in that area. It could have been Kilgore. It could have been possibly Bovine as well. And then he had Borsigalupi on that far side. So maybe if that ball was, slung a little bit deeper, there were some open options. It was just tipped out.
Far wide again here. Drop back by Jackson. It's intercepted. And speak of which, Tommy Wellbrook-Busey, he might go back the whole way.
Yo,
He's in a
don't
foot race
say.
with Bossy Galuppi. Tommy Wellbrook-Busey inside the 30. Bossy Galuppi's going to get him at the 25. What a foot race. That TWP couldn't get all the way home.
Not quite the speedster he is, but he still manages to haul that baby down for what would end up being around, 60 yards for him? And that'll feel like 3 football fields for this man. But the unbelievable work from this Pittsburgh defense to basically shut down OKC throughout this game. Just 234 yards of total offense. Most people would call that a successful day in the office.
We'll go into the victory formation here and kneel this one out. So Pittsburgh, 3 turnovers in the end. An all-round dominant performance. Full time here at the Hog Pen. Pittsburgh 49 to OKC's 3. Brett Solberg, give me your takeaways from that game.
I mean, we could probably keep this pretty simple here. Just running dominance from Pittsburgh. 307 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, 5 of them going into the breadbasket of Mike Churchill. And they kind of just sprinkled in that pass every now and again once it got comfortable. And OKC, unfortunately, played behind the entire game from the get-go. Pittsburgh's first drive was an absolute success, and then they kind of was trying to fight from behind the entire game and couldn't manage it. This was, a masterwork from Pittsburgh en route to win number 3 in a row and for the 3rd in the season before they get to their first bye week. That's basically best case scenario for the Riverhawks.
Just want to note as well, the Bullets did get that 100-yard century mark for the incentive for Justin Reside and Ron Haynes in the Stats Truck. Commissioner Cameron Irvine back producing. Brett Solberg, my co-commentator. We say good evening to you, and we'll see you on Monday. We'll see you for another week of football in Week 7. This one ends here at the Hog Pen. Pittsburgh Riverhogs 49, OKC Renegades 3.